Hi everyone, welcome to the final video of science for your 8th grade year. I was trying to think of where to go with this because we pretty much are done with, well, we did finish the curriculum. So I was trying to think of where I should go with this video, and obviously I think a good thing to talk about would be the future of science because you guys are going to be going on to high school next year, high school science, and I thought it would be cool to transition and to give you guys a little outlook on the future of science in terms of where we are right now. So in this little video, you're going to learn about 11 breakthrough pieces of technology that are possibly around the corner. You might have heard of some of them. You probably didn't hear of most of them. But I thought they were pretty cool. So without further ado, here we go. The first piece of technology that is sort of right around the corner is in the medical field, so biology. A lot of you are going to be taking biology in high school. So living robots, they're pretty much called. Essentially what they do is you would have these tiny single cellular organisms or some type of maybe robot that you take in a pill form, and they would swim towards an infection point or an issue that's in your body and pretty much give you the medical treatment that you need. It would be super safe. It would prevent very invasive surgeries. So if you have to go into it like an organ or something, they could send this thing into where it needs to go, and it would pretty much just be repairing you as a little robot inside of you that you take. So this is would be really cool. And yeah, it obviously links to a lot of biology and stuff in the medical field, but I thought it was pretty interesting. And imagine, not having to go to surgery anymore. You would just take this little pill, which would have a robot inside of it, and it would go in and repair some of your organs. So scientists are pretty much almost at the point where we have this technology available. It's pretty cool. The second thing is, a lot of you probably have seen virtual reality or tried it in some way, even if it was the Google Cardboard thing with your phone. But they're talking about tactical virtual reality. This is very breakthrough technology. A lot of engineers are working on it, but obviously it's all connected to science at the end of the day and physics. The big breakthrough is going to be not only seeing in virtual reality, but be able to feel in virtual reality. And this has a lot of scientific impacts, believe it or not. They're really focusing on it in terms of medical use first. They're talking about someone who lost the feeling or can't control their limbs, like paraplegics or amputees, and they'd be able to pretty much give them the sense of touch back in this way. So they're looking into this. They could also use it as doctors use virtual reality now, and the military uses virtual reality to pretty much use scenarios in the virtual reality headset, and they'd be able to practice like it was real life. So this would take it to another level. So this is being developed right now. The next one is called the Hyperloop Train, and this is a Elon Musk thing. I don't know if you know who he is. He's the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX and PayPal and all the other things that he made. But essentially they're talking about putting one of these in California right now. It's called a Hyperloop Train, and it would pretty much, there's bullet trains in Europe that work off magnetism. So there's essentially a magnet on the bottom of the train and there's a magnet on the tracks, and they repel each other when you put them at similar polarities. Remember, we talked about this: positive repels positive, negative repels negative, and it makes the train float across the track. This would be a little bit different design, but they're trying to make it so that transport is way faster. So they would take a 7.5 hour train ride, and it would actually be cut down to 35 minutes. So that would be pretty cool. This one I found really interesting. This guy invented, and well, he used pretty much principles of physics to invent this way of extinguishing fire. And a lot of you heard in the news, especially this year, there was a lot of wildfires going on, and we have a really hard time containing them, especially with just water. So what they did was they invented this fire extinguisher out of using sound waves. So if you look at the picture, this guy pretty much uses sound waves and blasts the fire, which creates a different type of pressure around the fire because sound waves move the air molecules away, and oxygen molecules, and it pretty much deprives the fire of oxygen. It won't allow the oxygen molecules to get in it because the sound waves are pretty much like moving them out of the way. So they're thinking they might be able to attach these to drones and fly them around forest fires and pulse the fire with sound waves and extinguish them way better than with actual water. So this is in the works. It's pretty cool though. I'm sure a lot of people would be excited about this. I know because of how many of you love to charge your dead cell phones in the back of the classroom. Fast charging batteries are pretty much right around the corner. They're modifying batteries to be able to store more charge and also to just be able to charge up faster. They already have the technology to charge a phone to 80% within 1 minute. They said to go from 0 to 100% is roughly between 1 and 15 minutes right now. It's not out on the market yet, but they're talking about this possibly being introduced in next generation smartphones. So if it was my guess, I would say you're talking in like the next 5 years, without a doubt, you'll have to not worry about charging because it'll be so fast. So that's all about energy storage inside batteries. Remember, potential energy storage in there. They're modifying what chemicals are in the battery in order to be able to achieve this. Self-driving cars and trucks. Yes, we do pretty much have Teslas that are almost pretty good at this. But, the market for that is so small. You're going to see down the road mostly all self-driving cars. It'll be like maybe your kids would have no idea that you would even ever have to drive yourself. They'll think that's hilarious that you would have to drive yourself. But this would be pretty cool. It would all be ran off satellite and the internet, and you would just pretty much program where you want to go, and you would sit back in your car. It would probably maybe play you a movie as you go, and you would just relax, and the car would be way safer. And all the roads would be way safer because, we don't have to worry about road rage. You don't have to worry about accidents. And in terms of business and moving material, you would have trucks that don't, truck drivers have to stop at rest stops and, take care of themselves and stop for food. Everything would be way faster and more efficient if everything was just self-propelled. Unfortunately, I don't think, at least from what I could find, that we're going to see flying cars anytime soon, but you never know. Floating farms. So they assume that within the next couple of years, the human population is going to go way up, and that's because we're advancing in technology so much that we're not dying at an early age. In like hundreds of years ago, the maximum age used to be like 30, 40 years old. Now people are living to, on average, 80, so that's going to be more people, which means we're going to need more food. So they're talking about these floating farms, which if you see in this picture, that's sort of what they're going for. They would be pretty much ran off solar power, and they wouldn't even use soil. All of the nutrients that the plants would need would be from the ocean. Believe it or not, the ocean water has got a lot of minerals and nutrients in it. And the fish will also provide a lot of nutrients. If you've ever been to, Disney, they have a ride in Epcot called Living with the Land, and they show you how they put plants and certain vegetables above fish tanks, and they use the fish waste in order to get the nutrients to the plants. It's pretty cool. So sort of similar concept. This one you probably heard. A human mission to Mars. This is closer than you think, definitely in your lifetime. The trip would take probably 150 to 300 days one way, depending on the alignment of Mars with the Earth and the rocket and all that stuff. They're saying this should be possibly as early as 2024, but as probably closer to 2030. But we're going to try to establish some sort of base camp there. We're going to be doing a bunch of unmanned missions before that to see if there's water and monitor some of the dangers that the humans might have when they get there. They're going to drop supplies off first and more of that stuff. So this is mostly to expand our reach as humans. We'll have another planet to settle on. Hopefully we can terraform the planet to make it livable. That might be down the road too. Imagine we can pump oxygen into the air to be able to breathe outside better. modify the terrain to hold water and stuff like that and have rivers and stuff like that. You could see there in the picture, this is just envisioned, but they would have those like bubbles where you can have like skyscrapers and stuff like that in them. Who knows? It's going to be really dangerous though for the humans to go there, and they're pretty much saying it would be a one-way trip. So they wouldn't have the technology to bring them back. So once they go, they're just pretty much going to stay there and try to do their best. In the future, you're probably going to see a transformed energy system. I would say this is definitely in your lifetime as well. You're going to go way more to renewable energy sources because we're really running out of oil, honestly. So they're going to have no point but to try to change and convert to mostly renewable energy, which is cheaper and safer, and it would prevent climate change from getting out of control. In the top left, you could see this is a hot spring, so we can harness the energy that's inside of the earth. In the bottom left, you would have wind power, nuclear power there, and then way down the road, I'm talking probably like hundreds of years down the road, they're talking about putting contraption, like building a contraption around the sun and beaming the energy from the sun onto the earth so that humans can use that directly. But that's way down the line. We are really close to harnessing nuclear fusion on the earth. Remember, nuclear fusion is when you take two hydrogen atoms and you fuse them and you get a helium and energy. It's what the sun does inside of the sun. They're talking about this probably being a thing within the next 20 years, and we would have the power of the sun essentially on Earth. You could see this picture. This was a tweet that went out. They have places that are trying to create this power of the sun inside essentially tubes. But it would be cheap, safe, clean, and it would be a lot of free energy. It'd be awesome. Finding life. This is a big one. So we're going to be broadening our search for life in the galaxy. We used to think that we are only looking for planets that are like Earth. So essentially, we are the perfect distance away from the sun. They call it the Goldilocks zone. So we know, oh, Earth can harbor liquid water if it's this amount of distance away from its star. So then what they're doing is they're going around with telescopes and satellites, and they're looking for other planets that are the same distance from their star as Earth. And that's the planets we're targeting in order to find life. But now they're looking at a moon called Europa, which is one of Jupiter's moons. And I put a picture of what they're looking at in the bottom right. You could see they're thinking that there might be liquid water underneath giant portions of the land. This actually expanded our search because now we're actually looking at certain moons to also have life. There could be a whole ocean of fish and other crazy alien organisms under there, and it's right in our solar system. So finding life would probably be the biggest discovery ever in human history to know if we're not alone in the universe. I hope it happens in my lifetime. That would be really cool. And wrapping up, the ultimate future is going to be you guys are going to be the ones to discover most of this stuff. By the time all this stuff is down the road, you're going to be in your 20s and 30s and be working on this stuff. So I think that's pretty awesome, and I hope you figure it out. Well, last but not least, I just wanted to say thank you all for being in my science class this year. I'm sorry that you got gypped out of 3 or 4 months of the school year. We did the best we can with the situation. You all were fantastic having class. I'm going to miss you all. And if you need anything from me from now until whenever, I'm always an email away. I hope you keep in touch, and good luck in high school. All right. Thank you for everything. And I'm really going to miss you guys. So I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope that at the end of the school year in science that you are like, when you're done with this video, that you could say to yourself, oh, okay, science is cool. Even if you didn't think you would like the class coming into 8th grade, I hope you can leave thinking that it's at least cool. And, you know, bonus points if you actually think it's awesome and you're like researching stuff and you want to go into a field that's going to make some of these discoveries. That's really cool. All right, keep in touch, and I will talk to you guys soon. Enjoy your summer. Bye.